Welcome to Two Bitches and a Broom podcast with your host, Charli and Krys. Welcome to Two Bitches and a Broom podcast week, goodness gracious, 6. We are continuing off of last 2 episodes, so we're still in the I'm awake now what process.
Saga.
So yeah, the saga. Guess what? It never ends, bitches.
Yeah.
So this week we are going to build off of what we had started already with the last 2. So just a quick little recap. We have knowing your own energy, understanding chakras. We had meditation, knowing your spiritual hygiene, getting to know your deity, intuition. And so that is all essentially encompassing of self, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to fold in the other players of your movie. So your team. I think it's really good first, though, if we should explain who comprises of your team and what they are, because I don't know about you, but I do get, when I talk, I just say team, like, I don't know, go team, go. That's how I just do it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who don't know what guides are.
Yeah. I think that at least in my experience, a lot of people feel that they are on this journey alone. Especially when you're first kind of opening up, you're not too sure if you want to tell anybody. Especially back in my day, you definitely didn't want to tell anybody. Like, no, I'm not crazy. Really, I'm okay. I just see dead people, and talk to them and stuff. Yeah, it's fun. So imagine trying to explain that you have an entire team of discarnate souls that are trying to support you in your path and life. So if you think they thought you were crazy before, it can definitely be hard to explain to some people that aren't in this field, that don't really get it.
Right.
So let's start with the, at the very beginning, like the main dude. This is what I'm going to call your main guide. And these are not technical terms. These are terms that I have created that help me to distinguish different team members. Just so we're clear. There is no dictionary where you're going to find these terms other than the one I created myself that are in my books that I've created. So the main guide is someone who before you were even incarnated, you made an agreement with, and you said, hey, I want you to assist me from my very first breath until my very last breath. I want you to help me in all things that I need to complete my soul mission. So that's the fun part, because your soul mission, if you will, is whatever you came here to do. So if that is, fulfilling self-love, if that is learning to be independent, if that is learning to be more forgiving. So they're going to be there to help you facilitate those particular lessons. Now, if you are a practitioner, those guides have an even more important role, believe it or not. Not that, your soul path isn't important. Obviously it is. But when you're a practitioner, your soul path is intertwined with being a practitioner, right? Because that's what you
Yes.
wanted to do when you were here. So they have
Right.
like a role that they are constantly helping you with every single day. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I view the main guide.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
what
I
would you
think
say?
I, so when I'm posed with this question, when I bring it up, and talk about, because I swear, I feel like, I'm sure we all feel like that, like, we're advocates for guides and we're always like,
I absolutely do. Yeah.
always. And I'm a huge advocate of 24/7 communication, like all things, right?
Mhm.
And when I'm posed with this question, what are guides? I kind of explain it the same way you do a little bit with pre-contracted, kind of terms of service
Yeah.
before your ass chose to come here
Yeah.
and you chose to do A, B, and C, and then
Yeah.
you went, hey, yo, like, I'm trying to do this, can you help me? And I tend to go, when I talk about guides and with people working with them, I tend to go into the protector guide first, um, when I have students start to work with guides.
Mhm.
And the reason I do that is because I feel like there's there can be a lot of fear
Mhm.
in stepping out and kind of connecting and communicating.
Mhm.
And we want to feel safe and secure and like they have our back,
Right.
So it is protector guide. And just like you said, there's it's a team. It's comprised of many guides that play different roles and service in different ways.
Mhm.
And then your main guide, absolutely. It's interesting when you are a practitioner and you're not only here for your own agenda, but you're also here for the collective agenda. And that's where it can get a little um, fun
Yeah.
and confusing too for people.
And I think that there is some confusion amongst newly awakened individuals, because you get really excited. You're like, awesome, I have people. And especially when you can start to hear or perceive or feel their presence, it can be very exciting. And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, show me everything. Show me what's the right way and show me what's the wrong way. And that's where you
Mm-hmm.
get the dun 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 to having a
Oh, nay,
guide,
nay.
because what they do is in the title of the name, they guide. They do not
Mm-hmm.
make you do anything. It's your life, right? So you have
Mm-hmm.
to be literally 100% responsible for all the choices that you make. So they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
say, don't do this. You must, you have to, you should. Those are never words a guide would ever say. Never
Mm-hmm.
would they say that. They will strongly encourage you not to do things that are stupid, that are going to hurt you. But they're not going to be like, don't do this or else. There is no threat. There is no
Right, right.
fear. There's nothing like that involved with it. But they do guide. A lot of times, at least in my own experience, I would say, okay, so what if I do this? And I would try to find a loophole, where,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that's just how my brain works. Like, I'll get them to tell me, I'll use
Uh-huh.
creative language, like they can't, like they don't
Mm-hmm.
know what I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking. And my guy would stand there and he would go, I don't know, what do you think? And I'm like, well, this is stupid. This isn't helpful.
Right.
This isn't helpful. I want you to tell me what to do. That's not
Yeah.
why you're here. You aren't here to have somebody else point to you and tell you the next step is, and then. That's not what it's about. It's about as you're
Mm-hmm.
choosing to make those steps, can you assist me to make the most
Mm-hmm.
beneficial path as I make these choices for each?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I've done the same thing. I get creative with my wording to be
Mhm.
like, okay, so is this in my contract?
Mhm.
Is this
Oh
in my
yeah.
contract?
Yeah.
And then my guys are like, yes, also no. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
essentially it, man. Yeah.
what the hell? I'm like, is this? Then I'm like, is this in alignment with my highest and best good to do this? And they're like, I mean, either way, you'll learn something, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's not what I asked you.
I know. I know. I would get so flustered and frustrated because I
Hmm.
really did. I was absolutely that person, like, give me the easy way. I am super obedient. Just show me what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I will do that and I will do it perfectly. And it took me a long time, probably longer than most, because I'm stubborn, to actually go, okay, I accept the fact that I have to make these choices. There is no wrong choices. There is
Hmm.
simply lessons that you're going to
Hmm.
experience with every single choice. Some are good and some you're going to go, well, I never want to make that choice again. But either
Right, right.
way,
Yep.
you're learning and you're growing, and your development is a byproduct of your personal and spiritual growth. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I remember there was one time where I was like, okay, fine. I'm taking the path of least resistance. I'm going to be a good student now and I'm not going to fight you guys anymore.
Yeah.
Just tell me what am I going to do? Like, what's my next step? Right. And I got overwhelmed with options
Mm,
and went
yeah.
into analysis paralysis
Yeah.
because everything was being thrown at me. And
Hmm.
it was, and here we are back at square one. What is it that you want to do?
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I quit. I was like, I quit. I'm I'm done.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the hangups that I've noticed with newly awakened, especially those heading into the practitioner role. Okay, well, great. I have this team and they're very aware of my contract and all of the things that are in it. So, where I just need to know, like, what is the next step? Like, just give me the list, right? And I'm like,
Sure.
yeah, have fun with that because
Yeah.
they're gonna give you a list, all right,
Oh, yeah.
but it ain't gonna have just one thing on it
Nope.
because ultimately you are the one that gets to decide that.
Yep.
They're not walking in your shoes. You are the one that's walking in your shoes. They're simply walking beside you to kind of help keep you in the right direction, whatever that is. And there's addendums to addendums to addendums
Oh,
based
yeah.
off choice,
Yeah.
you know?
It's reminds me of a client I had recently who had said, I would like a few ideas. This quote unquote, I would just like a few ideas of what
Mm-hmm.
I can do for my business. I kid you not. I kid you not. There was 50.
Yeah.
50. It was just one after another, after another,
Mm-hmm.
after another. And she's like, oh my God. Well, I mean, it's great, but it's overwhelming because there is so many. What do I
Yeah.
choose from? And I'm like, I think that was the point. Like, here's some ideas. Now you have
Yep.
to make that choice. Where do you feel drawn to go with that? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're great like that. They're a lot of fun like
Yeah.
that.
Hey, I've opened the floodgate myself with that kind of question of just like, just tell me what to do next. And it was like all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So, and I love how it's usually answered like a question with a question,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
just
that's
like,
super fun. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I'm a sarcastic asshole, I'm pretty sure I aligned with those that are also in like of humor as I have.
I have
Because
legitimately heard my guide again. He'll stand like that. This is how I know when he's like, um, just waiting for me to catch on to my own craziness or fuckery
yep.
that's going on. And he'll stand there. How's that working out for you? How's that working out? And I'm like, are you for real right now? I feel like my brain's going to implode. Well, how's that working out? Do you want to keep doing that? Is it good? No? You want to change that? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's how I learned. That is how I have learned my entire path. I think that's
Yes.
what has made me good, is because I've screwed up in every humanly way possible. And so I can see those pitfalls before most people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking with a really good friend of mine, once a fantastic medium. And it was one of those moments, right? Of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Like, I just need to bounce some things off of somebody else, kind of thing. And I'm blah, 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 right? And she was cracking up and she was like, the vision that they're giving me? They're standing back all like this, just around, and you're doing this circle, 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 circle.
Chasing your
And then
tail.
they're looking at like, don't worry, she'll get it. She'll get it. And then coming back around, circle, circle, circle. It's all right. Eventually she'll get it.
Give her a few days. She'll be fine.
She'll be fine. She does this all the time. It's fine.
Yeah.
She'll park it at some point.
What are you doing?
And I actually just made this point to a client recently, a student recently, when we were talking about the subject of learning, right? How like our styles of learning. And it was physical, actual touches of real examples always end up showing up. And I said, is that your learning style though? Because some people, if they were just to tell you, right, are you going to really take heed to what is being given? Or are you that kind of person that just tends to need those physical, like a touch of salt experience to be like, oh, that clicks.
Yeah.
I get it,
Yeah.
Because she's like, literally every time we talk about a subject and we get into something, I get an example the next week. I'm like, that could be your learning style. Again, here I am. I'm fucking doing donuts in the parking lot.
I love it.
She'll stop the car eventually.
That's freaking great.
And like, same thing with you, your learning style is one way, mine is one way, and that everybody has their own way of learning. And I think that's a good point too with your team. They know you. They know how you operate. They know how complicated you can be. They know how easy you can be. Like I said, if I'm a sarcastic asshole, I'm pretty sure I set myself up with those that are kind of in the same vibe as myself, because I I would probably make a very nice, compassionate, comforting guide quit. I don't know, because I fight everything to the
That's so great.
I fight back. So I might just be like, I don't know. They'd be like, yeah, we're never working with her again. As a matter of fact, I want a new department.
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't listen.
She doesn't listen.
Doesn't listen to anything I say.
And that's actually, I've talked to a lot of guides, not just my own, but like my clients, their team members, their guides. And in the process of that, a lot of what I heard was they're not listening. And, it's kind of like those memes, we see them, the joke, the 500, I've sent 500 feathers and they're still not accepting. I'm sending them the message
Yeah.
that they asked for, and it's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate, but I understand their plight.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine your sole job in life is to just help this person get very specific messages. And this person is like a brick wall, refusing to get anything. I couldn't imagine how frustrating
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh
would
yeah.
be. So yeah, like definitely pay homage to your team, you know,
Oh yeah.
definitely do. Because they're working their asses off every single day
Mm-hmm.
trying to help you, to give you the insight that trust me, you really
Mm-hmm.
want, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the
And they
moment
do
that you're
so
sitting
much.
there and you say out loud and you're like, man, I don't know, like I'm just throwing a for instance
Uh-huh.
there,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know if I should take this job. I don't know if I should. And they're like, okay, everybody get together. Let's send her messages to
Right,
take
right.
the job. And by the third one, you're like, I don't know. Does that mean that? No, I don't mean that. And they're sending you like 500. Yeah. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're like, thank fuck she's asleep, and rest. Good
Oh my
God.
gosh, if that ain't the damn truth, I swear. Like I can't stand me, so I don't even know how they stand me. So
Yeah.
it's it's a lot. I think another thing too with guides is the understanding the concept too. Like when I talk about guides to people, is you have free will, so they
Yeah.
can only do so much without you really just doing that connection
Yeah.
and setting that intention to start building that relationship. Because if you're like, cool, I have a team, um, you're still going to get, that outside kind of sprinkle of stuff because they have to respect your free will while you're here. Hello.
Absolutely.
So
And
what
I've
this
heard
realm is all
that
about.
so many times where people have been frustrated. They're like, oh my gosh, how could my guide allow me to do this? Or
Mm-hmm.
how could this happen if why wasn't my guide on their game or whatever? So let's use the protection guide as an
Mm-hmm.
example
Mm-hmm.
for this. Like, oh man, I felt so crappy after that interaction. Why wasn't my protector guide on their game? Why did they allow that to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't understand what a protector guide is, um, in some circles, they call it the gatekeeper guide. That is a guide
Mm-hmm.
that prevents people from entering or any energies from entering
Right, right.
your aura. And those that do enter your aura to be at a vibration that isn't going to be at opposition with your
Mm-hmm.
vibration.
Yes. Yes.
So in this instance, people are like, oh, why did they allow that? They're not on their game. Who dropped the ball kind of thing? And it's like, well, but weren't you the one that initiated that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't you the one that was seeking to connect with that energy? Again,
Mm-hmm.
they're there to guide. They're not there to say, no, you better not, or you're going to screw yourself up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
absolutely are the one that's telling them what you want. You are telling
Right.
them what you want. And if you're like, oh, I want you to protect my energy field, but at the same time, I want to connect with trash energy, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
what are they supposed to do? Chain you
Right.
to the radiator so you don't make that mistake? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why building that communication and really getting to know
Mhm.
the energetic signature of your guides is so important because for examples like that, it could have very well been too that your protector guide impressed their energy signature onto you, which would have been an indicator of maybe I should think about that. Because I know if I'm feeling mine, I'm like, halt.
Yeah.
Wait, hold the fuck up. What's happening?
Yeah.
But because you're just so gung-ho and you haven't really taken the time to build that relationship, it's gonna go right over your head.
Yeah.
Because again, if you don't understand your own energy, circling back to the beginning, this is why we understand our own energy, so then we can understand that of even our team, because they all carry their own energetic signature. You feel the difference with each one. So, if you don't know that, here you are. Yes, I want all the protection from keep me squeaky clean. And then you're like, I'm gonna go play in this dirt.
Yeah.
And they're like, bitch, I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Like, okay. You want me to watch you while you play in the dirt? All right. Like,
My favorite is when I hear, I ask if this is for my highest and best good, and I still ended up walking into kind of a shitstorm. And it's like, oh yeah, but wasn't that ultimately for your highest and best good? So you could experience that, so you wouldn't make that mistake again.
Yep.
So everything again is a learning experience. And sometimes you are put in those positions to experience the lesson to kind of make you go, okay, I don't want to do that. I will be more aware of that in the future.
Right.
So nobody's dropping the ball. Nobody's sleeping on the job, whatever you want to call it.
As much as we like to.
Yeah. With great intent.
Because I am very much that have had that experience of like, who the fuck went on a lunch break?
Yeah. And I have
there is no breaks over here.
With my own eyes, I have seen visibly the guides. Like, the best way that I could say it is you can see the distress that they have in some of the choices that people make. And it's very evident by that guide. Like, man, that's a tough lesson. If they, if they keep veering in the direction that they're going, this is not going to pan out real well for them.
Oh, yeah.
The guide is there to guide you. Just a guide,
Yeah. I've seen someone's guide one time and it's just like stumbling. And then they're just like, And I was like, I know. Because they do so much. That's another point too with guides, with your team in totality. They do so much on our behalf that we have no inkling of an idea of what is going on. They work so hard getting us messages and, communicating and guiding us along the way. And then there's a whole bunch of shit that we'll never have a clue of.
Yeah.
So definitely and I think that's probably why too, it slightly irks me a little bit that I'm not gonna lie, when I see individuals just utilizing their teams only when they're working, only when they're doing this. I'm like, I think about it this way, if I was your guide and you're only calling on me when it's going to benefit you, I'd be like, excuse me, first of all, fuck you. Okay. And that it is, and I'm such a huge advocate for commune with your team, even with the day-to-day stuff, even with your regular life, your family, your jobs, whatever it is. I even will throw out, riddle me this, Batman, how does this make sense? And then just throw out just like a general topic of something, and let's talk about that. It's not, they're not only there just to be of service, when it's going to benefit you in some kind of way. Let's say practitioner, oh, I'm doing readings, so I only communicate with them for readings, and then that's it. I don't talk to them after that. How would you feel?
Yeah, I know. I liken it to, and this is literally what I tell my students. Your main guide, your team are like your friend circle. They know everything about you, every single thing. There is nothing hidden. The stuff that your best friends don't know about you, they know.
They know.
There is nobody that knows you any better than them. And it would be essentially like picking up the phone and saying, hey, I want you to do this for me, and hanging the phone up. Would you ever do that to a human being?
Right.
You would never, ever do that. So yeah, definitely don't do that to your team members. It is just, yeah. And I've seen it happen.
It's not cool. Yeah.
It's not cool.
It's just not cool.
I have seen where the guides are very far off from that person. And I know that that relationship needs, as soon as I see that, it's like, oh no, we need to heal that. We need to come into Jesus moment. Because that is not working. The dynamics are so volatile where they're trying to do their best to fulfill their role. And the human is just not getting with the program, Like, no, it doesn't really, doesn't work like that, It's imagine having a dog, and every time the dog wants to be acknowledged, that you're like, get the hell out of here. Eventually the dog is going to stay away. It's not going to come near you because you're always pushing it away, and you're not actually having any acknowledgement whatsoever. And I know that's not a popular opinion. And I know that there's a lot of practitioners that will say, oh no, that'll never happen. Yes, it will. I have seen it with my own eyes. It most certainly will. I will bet every buck in my bank account on it. That's how sure I am. So yeah, no, work with your team.
Yes. So let's go over let's go over a couple of different roles and parts of that make up a team. So after your main guide, and then your protector guide, gatekeeper, what would be the next? I feel like it would be, like you have specialty guides as well, who serve for very specific reasons. So what's your take on specialty?
So specialty guides are guides that, it's literally in the description, is they are there for a very special reason. So maybe you're learning tarot, so you're going to have a guide that's going to assist you with that. Maybe you are learning how to paint. You're going to have a guide that's there. Maybe you are learning how to have a proactive relationship within interpersonal relationships. You're going to have a guide that's going to come and help you with that. Maybe you're working on self-love. A guide's going to work with you on that. Maybe you just want to learn gentle parenting. You're going to have a guide come in and assist you with that. They're going to do that for that period of time. And then they're going to leave and help another person that needs that exact same thing. So they kind of just go around and do that with individuals. So you can have many, many, many specialty guides throughout your lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. I think another kind of fascinating point with specialty guides that I found people are surprised to hear is that you can call on a specialty guide for anything. Anything.
Yeah.
And the example I give is there was one time I can be too much of a workaholic, and I can be too much of a non-workaholic. And so I really wanted to kind of find that balance between the two, because pressure was coming from both sides. And I absolutely put a call out. I need assistance to figure out this schedule and this balance, and how I can satisfy, especially as moms, and not only moms, but even if you know your own small business, and it's just so much coming at you all at the same
Absolutely.
time,
Yeah.
you know. And so I was really just like, oh, I had it. So next thing I know, there was someone that presented himself. I would never forget. She said her name was Susan, gray suit, looked like an HR lady. And I just like all of this information just started dumping into my head as I'm sitting at my desk looking at calendar and really just filtering out, okay, figure out this,
Yeah.
first things first, this, second things first, this and that
Yeah.
and the other thing. And the minute I started to kind of get the hang of it, you know, thank you. She went on her merry way. But you can call in a specialty guide to work with you for anything that you're interested in, you know, or you need assistance in, not only just things that you're doing along your path,
Mhm.
but if I, you know, probably will never happen, but if I want to be like, I want to be a great baker, me in the kitchen don't, we're not like friends. So, but I very absolutely can, because I can ask, okay, can you connect me with a guide, specialty guide that can help me gain this knowledge
Yeah.
in this area? I want to advance here. I want to gain knowledge here, because that's really the beauty of their roles, aiding you in gaining the knowledge for all of these things. Um, so yeah, I think specialty guide is the description, the purpose, the duty is in the name, and it depends on what it is. They're not forevermore with your team, but they come and go based off where you're at and what you're going through, what you're working on. But you can absolutely call any kind of guide in, and they're fantastic. They're great guides to work with. I highly encourage people to, if I have a client that's like, man, I'm really struggling with this part, I'm like, call
Mhm.
it a specialty.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time, because the minute I found out, oh, specialty guides, I could call for anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm like, yeah.
I
How
get
about let's call in this
very,
one?
very attached to my team.
Mm-hmm.
I get very, very attached. I think it's just in my nature, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the rapport and the relationships that I build, even in the spirit realm, are so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when um my specialty guide and whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
they will let me know that, you know, their job is completed. um I get very sad. I feel like I I don't know how to explain it. I just get really, really sad because they're not going to be around. And I'll never forget the first specialty guide that I had. She said that I can call. She said, you can call me if you need me in the future. And she was just so kind, so
I
kind.
got told the same thing.
And do you know, to this day, I have just on my altar, I still every single day I acknowledge her, because she was such an integral part of my path. To this day, I have a representation of her on my altar, because it was such an important role she filled.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Yeah.
you know, that was just working on self-confidence with me in my practice. That's a big ass
That's a
role.
big thing.
And she was
That's a
there
very
for a
big thing.
minute, friend, for a long minute. You know what I mean? So it was a very um very important bond
Mm-hmm.
that was created there. So yeah, when they go, it can be sad, but it is true, because I did. You know, I did call her back like, oh, okay. Okay. So I tried it and it worked. And
Mm-hmm.
I think she thought that it was hilarious. And I think she even said, I knew you were going to do this, or something like that. I was just testing, like, does it work? You know,
Is this really a thing? Let's find
what do you
out.
need? I need nothing. I just wanted to see
Nothing.
if it actually worked, you know?
Just checking on you.
Just wanted to see how everything is going. What are you doing now? Who are you working with?
Who are you working with?
How's that
What
working?
are they doing?
Yeah. So
It is very touching, and especially if you're the type of person who becomes very comfortable with members of your team.
yeah,
And it is like another version of grief that you go
it
through
is.
when it's time for you to level up, or specialty guides are their job is
Yeah,
done. I got told the same thing. You can always call.
I
That's
know.
okay.
And
I'm like, is it 1-800?
I still I still do though. I do.
Hmm.
I have. I absolutely have.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And I can sit here and I can name every single specialty guide I've had because they are important, very important roles in my path. Very important
Hmm.
roles.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So it's
So let's get
interesting.
into a little bit of ways that they make their presence known, or they connect with you, because I find this is like kind of a cool part about how they introduce themselves to you as well, because everybody has different ways.
Yeah.
And I think um I always I always teach taking a moment, sitting, centering yourself, setting that intention, calling your team forward, your divine team forward, and just kind of having that heart to heart, when you're ready to really start building that relationship. And I find that, I don't know about you, but I know like when I have, usually, if I have a new guy, they tend to present themselves in the dream state. And when they come in the dream state, then I'm like, okay, I start to take notice. And I know other people who have it where they get a flash of um, a piece of their, let's say, like a certain type of mustache, and then a knowing, or, not everyone gets. And I think this is misconception too, that you're not always going to get a full on picture. I mean, if you are very clairvoyant, sure, you may, but not everybody is.
Mhm.
And it may be a feeling, it may be the presence, it may be the knowing, it may be a color associated with a certain guide. I remember I didn't, because it takes me a minute to have my aha moments. One specialty guide I had years ago, I didn't recognize the connection until I actually started building the communication, but she always showed me a particular flower, and I was always drawn to this flower all my for as far back as I can remember, and had no idea, right? I'm an islander. What do I have? There's no sunflowers over here, but it was always like, oh my God, I'm just so drawn to this. And when I started building the communication with this guide, here comes all of these things, and I'm like, oh my God, like you've been here this whole time. And it was like, duh, Krys. But they show up and they make their presence known in so many different ways. This is why we have to just stay open to the possibilities of connection and how that comes.
Yeah. It's it's interesting that you said that because that actually happened to me, a flower associated.
Oh,
Um
really?
every time and it's the guide that I was just referring to, the specialty
Mm-hmm.
guide that I was referring to. I am very clairaudient, but I'm also
Mm-hmm.
clairvoyant, and I smell all kinds of things. I don't even know how to explain
Mm-hmm.
that or make that make sense, but um
Mm-hmm.
every single guide has a very specific scent. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. It's not like um I don't know how to explain it, but it was a very flowery, beautiful scent. And yeah, just so interesting that you said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very flowery scent. Hmm.
And that is, I think that's a great point too with this, is how you associate that with every guide carries their own particular scent.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't pay attention to, I mean, you literally have to smack me in the face with it for me to pay attention to it with the scents,
Yeah.
you know? But I am, again, right in front of my face, or even just feeling so drawn to this
Hmm.
particular flower, and seeing it, and just, all of that kind of stuff is a great point for people to understand that you're going to receive it based off your, how would I say that, the way that your clairs fall, because we have all
Absolutely.
the clairs,
Yeah.
but we have the ones we lean on more than others, and you're going to
Sure.
receive it through that way.
Right.
What are some of your tips on starting the connection, or exercises with building that rapport and that communication?
Um, so one thing that every single human being has, that for sure you have, is you can feel.
Mm-hmm.
Every human being is born with this gift. Every single person can feel. So what I recommend is closing off sensory perception to your eyes, shutting out this
Mm-hmm.
world, and feel, feel what your body feels like, feel what your environment feels like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then say out loud. I recommend saying out loud. Why out loud? Because it seems very affirming. Then when you're saying it in your head, what can happen is, if there is a response and it comes in your head, you're going to think you made it up. So it's better to say it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
that voice sounds different than the voice coming in your head. You just haven't figured that out
Yeah.
yet when you're
Mm-hmm.
first developing.
Right.
So by saying it out loud, come closer, come closer, come closer. Let me feel your energy. And then feel. Does it feel lighter on one side of your body? Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel tingly? Do you feel warmer? Everybody has their own sensations in your body. Allow yourself to actually feel that. And then say, thank you for that. Can you step away now? And feel the energy recede from you in that
Mm-hmm.
environment, so you can gauge the difference. You have no idea. I made my guy do this like 100 times. He was doing the cha-cha-cha because I really wanted to identify what that
Mm-hmm.
felt like. So he would come behind me. He would come closer, and then he would back off and come closer and back off. And I would be able to feel. So I know every time my protector guide comes closer, like you were saying earlier, I
Mm-hmm.
know when he's present, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I better stop, because if he's here, there's an issue. You know what I mean? So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, that was something I very much trained myself to be observant. And I promise you, every guide has a different energy signature.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not make sense to you at first. Some may feel big, some may feel like cotton candy, some may feel
Oh yeah.
heavier, some may feel very small. It may be a delicate energy, and some may be very prominent, very powerful. Whatever that is for you, you can attribute it to that guide. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like if you're walking into your living room. You may not see your partner or spouse, but you can feel,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they're over there on the couch. Even though
Yep.
you didn't see them, you can feel that they're in that room.
Yep.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I do the same thing with students, of practicing understanding your own energy, and then asking your particular guide, to step forward
Mhm.
and closer, and physically impress upon me your energetic signature.
Yeah.
uh, because that is, you become accustomed to that. And again, when you're going day to day, like how we use the example for your protector guide, if you're specialty guide is going to step in, you'll be able to pick up and recognize that signature,
Sure.
and then probably know, oh, I'm about to get some information, you
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
So it's so important to get to know the energetic signature of your team so you can recognize, because it sets you up for success.
Absolutely. It does.
Sets you up for success.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I'm
so
telling you, you have no idea how excited your team is when you start to do this work. They are so excited
yep.
for you. They're so excited to interact with you. And make no mistake, you don't have to. I recommend that you're in a quiet space so you can, if your clairaudience is starting to kick in, you can hear. But you don't have to. You can talk to them as you're getting ready in the morning. You can talk to them in your car. You can talk to them while you're doing dishes. You can talk to them while you're taking a walk. I don't think there is a space on this earth that I have not spoken actively to my guides or my God ever. You don't have to put yourself in a trance. You don't have to be in a pretzel. You don't have to assume some exotic position in order to connect. God made this super easy for us. Whatever, your God may be, made it really easy for us to connect. If we could just get the hell out of our own head and quit thinking it's so difficult,
I think
you will see how completely
that's the biggest challenge.
Easy. Yeah, it is.
That is literally the biggest challenge of existence here, is getting out of our own way. Because we make shit so complicated.
Yep.
And we always think it has to be some 100-step process when it really doesn't. And that's actually leads right into the next tip that I have for communing with your team, is that when you're doing the dishes, you're standing there anyways, doing the dishes, cleaning your kitchen, whatever you're doing. Why not just tune in and open up for a conversation, talk through things, you're folding laundry, you're having a deep clean day, you're going out for a walk, you're brushing your teeth, doesn't matter. Driving in your car. I think that's another misconception, is you have to be in some sort of Zen state to communicate, and you truly do not.
Nope.
And I find like 90% of my communication is not in a Zen state.
Nope.
It is all the time, every day, coming across things, just throwing that idea out there, getting the feedback. What do we got on the agenda for today? Kind of stuff like that. Like, what are we doing today?
Yeah. I think it's interesting. The most common thing that I'm asked when people, when I'm teaching and they're becoming aware of team members, is, oh my God, did they see me when I'm getting dressed, when I'm using the bathroom? That's so creepy. And it's like, well, I can tell you, in all the years that I've done this, never once have I seen them when I was having relations with my husband or when I was using the restroom. But make no mistake, I have called them in many times when I am showering. They do not care.
Oh, yeah.
Physical form, it's nothing. See, you're seeing yourself with skin and bones, and they don't see us that way. That is not what it's about. They don't even view us that way. It's so interesting that is the first thing. And I'm like washing my hair. I'm like, okay, what are we doing today? What's on the agenda? I should know.
It sounds weird.
Know what I mean? Like,
but the best conversations were in the shower.
Absolutely.
Best conversations.
You have the element of water there. You're absolutely clearing. You're clearing yourself. Yeah, it's the best time, man. I'm like Johnny on the spot in the shower. You know what I mean? This is really good.
I would say, especially in the beginning, I would just be thinking about something, and I would throw out a question or an intention, go in the shower. Oh my God, I would come out and be like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Because it was like truly hands down. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I love shower conversations
Yeah.
with my team
Yeah.
because it is on point all the time.
But you know what's funny is there's not a lot of people in our field that actually say that or talk about it. But I
Mm-hmm.
know from just, you know, my circle of friends that are shamans, we all do it. All of us have
Mm-hmm.
done it, but nobody taught. I don't care. I'm what you see is what you get. I'll throw it out there. I don't care.
Right.
And
Right.
we're like, oh my God, I do that too. And everybody was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. Don't be ashamed of
Mm-hmm.
it. It's freaking awesome. It's great.
Yeah.
You are connecting with an element. You are clearing your energy. Holy crap, holy. That is perfect timing right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your team, man. They don't care. They don't care about any of that. Trust me. It's not a
Right.
thing.
Right.
It is not a
No,
thing.
it's us in our human mind in our
Yeah.
self-critical kind of thing that we all
Yeah.
have, you know, but really they're looking at you and they're looking at you in your etheric form,
Yeah.
not this container. That
Nope.
who gives a shit about that?
Yeah.
And yeah, that is, I think that's part of the misconception of communication with your team.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't have to be in a specific setting, or you don't have to be in a specific state. You know how many times I've been like going through the roller coaster of shadow and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And
Yeah.
you know, in I'm not in a um mindful way of how I'm talking. I'm like literally venting. I'm
Mm-hmm.
venting everything out. I mean, hell,
Mm-hmm.
they already know me. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can hide anyways. You know, make use of that. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But
huge misconception.
it's not like they're going to seek you out when you're on the potty, you know? They never
Right.
once
No.
ever have. Um, so yeah, it's not a thing, but it's kind of leading me into the next group of guides, which I literally call the helper guides. There is no classification, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, dictionary. These are just the terms I've made up.
Mm-hmm.
But these helper guides, it was so frustrating for me because every time I'd say, okay, what is your name? It is not important. You can call me anything you wish. And I was like, oh my God, that's not how we do things here on earth. Your name, it's important.
Mm-hmm.
How do I thank you? Oh, you just did. No, what is the name that you go by where you're at? The
Mm-hmm.
name you would like. What would you like to call me? And it
Right.
was so frustrating. I wanted to like bang my head on the wall. So they will never, ever, ever give you a name. If you come across this and they tell you that, it's fine, it's cool. They do all of the little things that make a big deal of importance to us, but are
Mm-hmm.
little tiny blips in the spirit world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like avoiding spilling coffee on your shirt, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a thing. Finding your
Yep.
keys before you're late for work, that's kind of a thing. Or where the hell did I put those shoes at that I buried last
Yep.
year? You know what I mean? That I need.
Standing in your room and being like, okay, do I have everything?
Yeah,
Check, 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 check,
yeah,
check. You know, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is really, really important. It is important to acknowledge how much help we have. And I can't even tell you, oh my God, I think there's a revolving door for me because I require a lot. It's like keys, what are keys? What do you mean keys? You know?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's a thing. It's
Yeah.
a real thing. I
Oh yeah.
literally today I was walking out to my car and my foot like went to go slide, and I'm telling you, I would have twisted the hell out of my ankle and I could feel myself move back up. And I was just like, thank you so much. You're so fantastic. You're so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's little things like that. It's little things like that, because ain't nobody got time for no twisted ankle bullshit, you know? So
Nope, not over
yeah,
here. Yep.
yeah. So there you have an entire team that is working for you. So think about it. You have somebody that's protecting your aura, you have somebody who's helping you with your life path, somebody who's helping you with all the bullshit that you're screwing up as a human being and you're forgetting because you're so
Mm-hmm.
busy being a human, right?
Right, right.
And then the angelic realm. How would you like to address that, Krys?
So I think, let's see. I feel like the angelic realm, of course, guardian angels is the most popular thing that people understand with the angelic realm.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like there's a misunderstanding with I okay, so I don't want to say that the angelic realm is not of assistance to us,
Mhm.
but I feel like there is a misunderstanding of their roles and how they really, their purpose and how they really do assist us.
Yeah.
Um, I think that, and I don't know if it's just because it's a popular thing that, oh, I call it like all the angels to come in and help me and guide me and this and that. Or I don't know. I just feel like they have very particular jobs and
Yeah.
very particular roles.
Mhm.
And sometimes I equate it to like, never pray for strength because you're going to get plenty of examples
Of why you need strength.
to
Yeah.
of why to
Yeah.
exercise your internal strength. I
Yeah.
kind of liken it the same kind of way with the angelic realm.
Yeah.
It's not the way that everybody thinks,
Nope.
that they work.
Nope.
And yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. I see guardian angels even when working with somebody, and the more that I see with them, the more I know, look, friend, I don't know how complicated you are
Mhm.
or just how much you set yourself up.
Mhm.
But if I see, I think at one point, it was five maybe. I saw with somebody at one time, and I was like, I'll pray
Yeah.
for
The
you. Because,
more angelic intervention that I see with support, the more trauma
mm-hmm.
that person has had in their life and they
Yeah.
require that support. And I think that there's a misunderstanding between guardian angels and archangels. There's a
Mm-hmm.
clear delineation between the two. Clear delineation. So your guardian angel can look like me,
Mm-hmm.
just Joe Blow that used to have
Yep.
an incarnation on Earth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so can it absolutely look like me and still be your personal guardian angel? When it comes to an archangel, they have very clearly defined roles. So that would be like, I want somebody to help me with um oh, I have this big financial disaster and I'm looking for some financial support. I'm going to call in the angels, please help me with this. And I call
Mm-hmm.
on Michael. Michael's only going to help me with protection. That's it. That's
Yep.
all he's going to do. So
Yep.
if you're calling on him to help you with finances, he's going to come in, he's going to look at you and he's going to shake his head and he's going to go away because that's not his job. He has no
Mm-hmm.
idea how to assist you with that. So that's one of the things that I do with all of my students is I go over all of those
Mm-hmm.
roles for each and individual archangel. And I think it's important that it would behoove you to really do the research and look it up. I mean,
Yes.
there's so much information out there. You can absolutely do the research and find out all of
Oh
your
yeah.
clearly defined roles, but your guardian angel is totally different ball game. Totally different.
Mm-hmm.
They are there
Yes.
to support you because there is trauma that you are currently experiencing, have experienced, or have not overcome. So the more that there are, the more that I will absolutely work with that individual to heal that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I think, when I talk about team, and I've heard this before too, and it kind of cracks me up a little bit when I hear some people say, Archangel Michael is part of my team. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Guardian angels, part of your team, roll with you, assisting you. But the archangels serve the greater of the collective.
Yeah.
And their
will is identical to the will of Creator. Their will is not for you solely. Their will is that is the equivalent of the will of the Creator. So you are a little puzzle piece in a much bigger puzzle.
Right. And I think doing your research and looking it up and getting to know, because there's way more than just the standard list, that the most popular that people are aware of. Much more. So if you were having financial hardship, like the example that you gave, and you were wanted to call in an archangel to assist you, you can find one if you look. There's so many different roles, so many different purposes, but archangels are not like guardian angels. Archangels serve Creator, God, and the will of humanity as a whole. So you can absolutely call in assistance, divine assistance in that way. And they will respond if it is actually fitting within their role. And it is, if something that they can truly help you with. Otherwise, it's like crickets. You're not going to have it.
Yeah.
So I think, and you're really on point with the guardian angel too, of looking. I don't know if this is just because of part of my background of having this idea of what they would look like. But guardian angels, I know I've seen them, and they just look like regular schmegular people.
They look like regular people. And I think there is also the misnomer of, my guide is an ascended master. I hear that very, very frequently. And here's the scoop. I have done thousands and thousands of readings in my time. And I assure you that if you do not have this very big role where you are reaching many, many people, you're not going to have an ascended master. That's not going to be a thing, because those type of individuals are going to work with people that are going to work with thousands of people so they can get more messages out there, right? And I'm not saying that to be like an asshole. I'm really not.
Right. No.
But I really want to quash that, because there are so many fantastic guides out there that are great at what they do. And I think it's kind of like saying, well, you're shitty because you're not an ascended master. No, they're fantastic. Be open to the experience and be blessed with what you have, because you picked them to work with you. So they got to be fantastic. Out of all the people that you had the opportunity to work with, you said, this one is the one that I want. So it's perfect for you. It's perfect for you. I'm blessed with my team. I'm so blessed with my team. And there's just, I hope that we can kind of quash that illusion of, it must be like the ascended masters, one of the ascended masters, or the Messiah, and or like you said,
Mm-hmm.
these great figures. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, holy crap, are you kidding me? My guides are phenomenal at what they do. Phenomenal. I've seen so many people's guides that are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like saying,
Mm-hmm.
well, you're kind of shitty in comparison. No, you're not. They're all fantastic. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah. I
I
think that
just
is
felt
a,
like that was worth
oh,
saying.
no, no, no. That is absolutely worth saying because I've seen that. And it's just like, I mean, maybe that's why we're such huge advocates for spirit guides and getting that their roles, their positions to become normal
Yeah,
and, normalizing this
yeah,
because we all have them. You've already pre-contracted with the ones that you're going to work with that can best suit you,
yeah,
and they kind of just get dismissed. And they're not, they deserve so much credit
yeah,
for
yeah.
what they do and how they assist. And at the end of the day, too, I think about it this way too, and I tell people everything is an extension of God,
Hmm.
anyways. So it doesn't matter where they fall on your perceived totem pole. Um, it's all derivative of source.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Every single
nobody's better than
day,
anybody.
I start off my morning thanking my team every single morning. My entire team, my ancestors, every single morning and every
Mm-hmm.
single night, I do the same thing because I absolutely do not know what life would be like without them. I think it would be so boring and empty.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to never experience.
Well, one thing I too, like a little side note on that too, is the more that I got to understand, especially in the beginning of development,
Mhm.
your team and get to know them and build that relationship with them, the more I realized how much they were showing up in the
Oh, yeah.
past.
Oh, yeah.
That fucking blew me away.
Yeah. Like
That blew me away.
every single day,
Yeah.
they work their ass off. Every day, they work their ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of different ways. And I promise you, those of you that are listening or viewing this at home, there are so many times that they have been there for you that you aren't even aware of. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the blessing of having a team. That in and of itself
Mm-hmm.
is a blessing. How many times have you been in positions, energetic positions, that they have prevented? How many
Yep.
times did
Yep.
you get that internal nudge to think about that before you do that? How many
Mm-hmm.
times has that occurred that you're unaware of?
Yeah.
I just feel like they're very overlooked. They are not
Mm-hmm.
um and as much in the forefront as I think they should be. I say it and I'll continue to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I look good because my team assists me so greatly,
Yep.
so
Yep.
greatly, in so many different ways. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
there's just not enough accreditation for them. I think that we see the human that is doing readings that are having all these, and they're like, oh, what a wonderful human. And I'm
Yeah.
looking at the human and I'm seeing the 6 team members behind them, and I'm like, what a kick-ass fucking team.
Right. Exactly.
What a kick-ass team. Look at that. That is fantastic. What a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful human experience that individual is having
Yep.
because of the 6 individuals that is supporting the human. How
Supporting them. Yep.
fantastic is that?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is. And it is like, I mean, I even find that too, even till this day, sitting in the middle of whatever I'm doing
Mhm.
and they're channeling their information and their guidance and stuff. And
Yeah.
there's times too I'd be like, dang that, wow, that was like brilliant.
Yeah.
Like that didn't come from me.
Yeah.
they do so much that they really, 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 truly deserve our credit and our gratitude and everything. Um, I think that's a good pause for where we are right now
Yeah.
to kind of get
Yeah.
in. I know we still have other parts of what makes up of a team that we can absolutely go into.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so, and then any final words, tips, or comments on guides?
My only tip remaining would be to really look at your guides as your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to them, open up the line of communication. I'm telling you, they are so excited to have the opportunity to work with you and connect with you. And even if you don't want to do this as a profession,
Mm-hmm.
just having the human experience, please connect with them. Please
Oh,
connect with
yes.
them. It doesn't mean
Yes.
you have to do it professionally. Personally, such a beautiful, beautiful connection. And it would be
Mm-hmm.
a shame if you missed the opportunity to have something so intrinsically important that you could miss out on. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yes.
that's what
I
I
think
have to
that's
say.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yes. I dig it. I like it. So, all right. I think we probably will end up just continuing on next week and get a little bit more into
Yeah.
connection and
We'll just wing it.
ancestors.
We're good at winging
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. I think we can talk about this all day. So, but I appreciate everyone for listening, for watching, all the support. I hope that whoever is listening to this or watching this, on Spotify or YouTube, that you're gaining something of value from this insight and experience. Please comment, share, like all of the things that you do. I'm not really techie, but all of the stuff that you do with this stuff.
interact with
Um,
this.
Interact with
Yes.
us. There you go. I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you do, like, you do all the buttons and stuff?
Yeah.
And leave us comments. Let us know your experience too. I love hearing other people's perspective and experience of how they connect with their team. When have you noticed, what are little experiences you've had that your guides show up for you really,
Mm-hmm.
in the comments for either YouTube or Spotify. So I think we'll wrap it
Yeah.
on up. Yeah,
Until
cool.
next week. Thanks again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.